Right, so based just on what you have here, so your first step on something like this, right, and you don't specifically have to start with this step, but I want you to get used to it because there will be times that you don't need to do anything but this step.
Are you allowed to use the Pythagorean theorem to find?
And that's what you do. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to find the known ratio. So there's 2 in this case, right? The trig ratio and its reciprocal. But which trig ratio for A is identified based on the given information? This side of 6 and this side of 8. Is it so, ka, to, which is it? So, ka, or toa? Toa, right? The opposite side of A and the adjacent side of A is given. So that's the known ratio. So you can identify, again, if you kind of look up here, SOHCAHTOA, you can identify this one. So you know that the tangent of A is the opposite side 6 over the adjacent side 8. And what does that reduce to? 3 over 4. Okay, so there's your tangent ratio. Now, once you have the tangent ratio, what's the other trig ratio that you can find easily? Cotangent. It's just the reciprocal of that, right? So when we flip this fraction, what does it become?
4.
Perfect. All right, so the reason I set this as its own step is there will be times where this is all you have to do. You only need to know the given ratio. So I do want you to be able to identify that. Hey, once you find that known ratio, then in order for you to find all the other ratios, you need to find another missing piece of information from the triangle. Well, if we have 2 sides, 2 legs of a triangle, what do we need to use in order to find the hypotenuse? Pythagorean theorem. So you're going to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so if we look at this, we're dealing with the sum of the squares of the 2 legs. Remember, the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, c is always your hypotenuse. It's the side opposite the 90-degree angle or the right angle. So 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to, we'll call it c squared here. 36 plus 64 is equal to c squared. If 100 is equal to c squared and we extract the square root, what does c equal? 10. So we have our value of 10. Okay, and once we have that value of 10, we can now go through and perform this last step, which is to find the remaining trig ratios. All right, so now notice in this particular case, you could have probably skipped step 1. I mean, because we're doing the same thing in step 3 as we did in step 1. But again, I want you to be able to distinguish which one is the given set of ratios. All right, so if I want to find cosine of A is adjacent 8 over hypotenuse 10, which reduces to 4 over 5, which means what's the reciprocal ratio to cosine? Well, so which of these is it going to be? Okay, remember the ratios and their reciprocals don't start with the same letter. So cosine is the reciprocal of secant. So this is going to be 5 over 4. Okay, and then finally, move to our sine. The sine of A is opposite 6 over hypotenuse 10, which reduces to 3/5. And the sine is the reciprocal of cosecant. Again, a trig ratio and its reciprocal do not start with the same letter. So this gets flipped. 5 over 3 would be the cosecant.